Yeah, what's going on, everybody, man? What is up, Premiership people? Welcome back to the Premiership Forum Lounge. I should think of another name for that. That's kind of long. That's too long. A bit of a tongue twister there. What's going on, everybody? What's going on YouTube? What's going on Facebook? We're back and we're here to talk about week 5. And week 5 was a very telling week, and it only hits home and reinforces the fact that the Premiership is going to be very competitive this year, and we've got teams that are not doing well at the moment, teams that shocked the league last season, like Sheffield United, Man United in 15th place, and Leeds are now up into third. I'm just looking at the table now. Leeds are up into third place. So that's going to be an easy prediction that we're going to get right. How are you getting on, Tony? What's going on, bro?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, yeah. You know, we're on half term now, so nice break for me.
Excellent, excellent. Bertram, how's your week going?
It's been busy as you know what. I just came off a 3-hour call. I'm tired of working from home. It's been a long week, but it's good. We had a presidential debate here last night, which the news media they're bigging up, and I'm not sure why, because 30% of us has voted already, so I'm not sure why we're bigging up something which has no effect on how you're going to vote. Zero.
You know what makes me laugh? I keep up with American politics and have done for decades because I've got a lot of investments in the United States. And what shocked me was that there are still undecided voters up until now. I mean, what? How could you have not made up your mind?
Because they want to be on TV. That's all. That's my philosophy. If you view me, I'm undecided. I'm going to get that prominence.
Oh,
people are in clear corners here. There's no ambiguity. You don't care what the other side does. You're gonna vote for who you vote for.
Is it really that clean cut though, Apollo? Because what you've got to consider is when you turn up at the ballot, you're not just given 2 options. You're given a whole sequence of options.
Oh yeah, because the Senate,
your local, your state. You know, you've got policy. So it's not just as simple as saying
Tony. A lot of people just check that one line.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There are some instances where you like your senator versus the president. But if I'm marking, well, I won't say I'm marking. Let's just say I mark all blue. That's what I'm marking. Move on.
That's crazy.
Not spending time.
And guys,
I totally understand it myself, but I do recognize that there are complications about voting, which make it not as easy as just saying, well, blue or red.
Yeah.
So, guys, we have Jamie, first time here. Welcome to the party, Jamie, and shout out your YouTube channel as well, mate.
Evening all. How the devil are we? I'm Jamie. I actually live in Mallorca, in Alcudia in Spain. So I'm what you class as for Leicester. I'm what you class as a far-flung fox. Our YouTube channel, a triple F. Our YouTube channel is Leicester Fan TV. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram. And simple as that, just come and follow us and let's talk about a load of football tonight, shall we? Because I'm looking forward to this.
Brilliant.
I'm your virgin tonight, me.
Nice one. We've got Tony trying to come back in at the moment. He's got bags of problems. Look at his face there. Tony, that looks a bit better.
Is my mic working?
Yeah, everything's working now, bro. That looks much better.
Cool.
Welcome back, Luke, West Ham fan. And what a time it is to be a West Ham fan, Luke.
Hello. I didn't expect it to be like this.
I did.
A dozen a week.
Well, I'm loving it.
At least someone did.
You know what? One of my good friends is a West Ham fan. Chris Akabusi, and he's never gonna live this down because I told Chris Akabusi that they're going to get off to a great start. Ian, who's normally our other West Ham fan here, I said to him the same thing. And now it seems like everybody understands what's going on. What a team. Luke is like,
It's dumbstruck. You don't know what to say, does it? You've done it.
I'm speechless.
You know what it is, Luke? You might be waiting for the bubble to burst, mate.
Just thank your owners, Luke. Just thank your owners.
Don't do that to me.
West Ham owners, I won't thank them at all.
And Tony, Liverpool fan. Tony,
right.
how are you getting on this week after learning about
Enjoy
Van
it.
Dijk? Tony, after learning about Van Dijk, how have you taken the news about him and the injury?
Tony's having some technical difficulties.
I don't think Tony can hear us. Tony, can you hear us?
It's going to be tough because we haven't got Alisson or Van Dijk.
Okay.
So, welcome to Arsenal lands. That's all I'm saying, because we've been battling those injuries for a long time.
Tough one. Without being Van Dijk. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, Tony.
I think he's getting a delayed.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Delayed
Yes,
response.
we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. For Van Dijk, it's gonna be tough. Cool. I'm probably getting something delayed. Yeah,
it might be a slight delay. So, guys, let's talk
in terms
about
of Van Dijk. For us to retain the title, I think it's gonna be tough without him. We haven't got Alisson either, so it's gonna be a tough time for us. We've got Fabinho who's gone to the back four, and he looks pretty decent there. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, teams. A lot of people have said. Actually, was it Tony or Bertram that said if they lose Van Dijk, then they're in big trouble?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, maybe delay somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was. It was Bertram. That's why Bertram's quiet. He ain't saying nothing.
They're not. No, I kind of think they're going to be challenged. They're going to be challenged.
Definitely, I totally agree. So, guys, we've got the first 3 games here. Let's just breeze through these because we've got the juicy ones underneath here. I'm not going to really say much. You can see my predictions were in brackets.
Yeah.
So, what the hell have I done there? Have I put the right thing in?
Yes, I did that.
So
It looks like
2-1
Sort of.
Brighton win at
Oh
Crystal
God!
Palace.
All right, you know what? Let me just bring up my sheet because I don't know what I've done there. I've had a
Did you pick
moment.
Brighton to beat Crystal Palace, really?
Yeah. Let me just have a look and see what I've done there. So what I've done is I went for Crystal Palace 1-1, and it ended up being 2-1 to Brighton. So I got that one wrong. I went for a Sheffield. I went to 2-1 to Sheffield.
No, Brighton and Crystal Palace drew.
1-1. They're 1-1. They're 1-1, Apollo.
Yeah, it's 1-1. Is that right? Oh, I've got it the other way around. Right. So the number in brackets is what I predicted. That's correct. Yeah. So I went for the score in brackets, so I got that one wrong. The Sheffield, I went for 2-1 Sheffield, and it was 1-1. And the West Brom Burnley, God, I went for 1-0 West Brom, and it was a bore fest. I don't even know. I think there was 4 shots on target for the whole game. I mean, imagine the poor bastard that had to sit through that. What was
the ones that had to pay
thoughts?
for it, 15 quid for 0-0 draw.
Oh,
15 quid for 0-0.
terrible.
Yeah.
What was your
According to
thoughts on
Fulham, there
that?
was 75 people paid for that. 75 people paid for the West Brom Burnley game. At
Really?
15 quid a pop.
75.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to know why. I'd like to know why there was 75 people watching that.
I mean, I
That
can
is
understand
shocking.
that. If you're a true fan and you were really desperate to watch your team,
Man, there's desperate, and then
There's
there's really.
other ways of watching live football at the minute
yeah, exactly.
that we're not allowed to say about.
Yeah.
I mean, going down to the pub and getting 2 pints is cheaper than that.
Well, then the
Going
pub have got to pay that pay-per-view as well. Their pay-per-view for a game like that is ridiculous. And they probably wouldn't bother.
But
It seems like
another
you've been
thing-
on the sherbets with your graphics tonight so far. There seems to be a bit.
Yeah, most definitely. The thing about it is, Jamie, is they're now talking about the TV companies not making enough money, and obviously they had a rebate with the teams last year, about 28 million each. Now they're talking about this format where all the games are free. They're not earning enough, and they're saying at the moment now we're going to all start to have to pay to watch our team.
Well, what about the people on furlough that aren't making any money, that are on 66% of their wages? How are they going to afford it? It's got to be for the fans. It can't be for the I was going to say big boys, the top 6. It can't be just for them. It's not just a money making scheme. If you haven't got the fans, you don't make money. So charging them 15 quid to watch a game is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we've been double dipped because we had Villa last week and we've got Arsenal this week, both on pay-per-view, which is absolutely ridiculous. What we're doing at the minute, we're asking people to donate their money to two charities: the Vichai Foundation, the Leicester chairman, the Vichai, and Memphis Gifts for Children for Christmas, which disadvantaged children and disabled children. So we're getting them to pay the 15 quid to donate it instead of paying Sky, which I think is a lot better off. It's just stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous paying 15 quid to watch it. I know when you go to a boozer, when you go to the game, you probably spend 30 quid on a ticket and a 10 or 15 quid on booze and food. But it's different. You're there. You're actually enjoying it. You're only paying for watching a pre-season friendly at the minute, really, aren't you? It's not the best. I mean, some of these scores: Liverpool losing to Villa, Man City losing to us 5-2. How lucky were we? So Man City said. It's just stupid. The scores are going absolutely bonkers. So I think it's wrong. I really do.
And there's no home field advantage. So
that's gone.
So I'm going to be the outlier here. I'm going to be the outlier by saying, at the end of the day, Sky has to pay its bills, players have to get paid, and money comes from the fans either through advertisement and/or through gates or their cable subscription. So I don't know what the profitability is, but for example, BT lose money, don't they? It helps out the programming, but they lose money. So it's not like they're making a ton of money. So they got to figure out a way to recoup their money.
Yeah, but surely they should be offsetting a lot of their loss of earnings through the endorsement that they're getting. If you're showing more games, you're getting more adverts. Yeah, you're on a Saturday afternoon.
No,
it doesn't work that way, Tony.
5 games in a row, and then there's 5 games in a row on a Sunday. That's a lot of advertising.
Yeah, but they make their money by other means, and that's the reason why the teams had to do a rebate. It's just other various means. I mean, players are told to.
We're not talking about the football club. We're talking about the TV company. The TV company has got more football at its disposal than it's ever had.
Yeah, Tony, there are events and sponsorship stuff that the players are asked to do, the teams are asked to do. All this stuff generates money, and they can't do that. So that's the reason why they're not making enough money, and they asked for the rebate, which happened last season, and it's probably going to happen again this season. There's no two ways about it. Yeah. Guys, does anybody want to pile in on these results before we move on?
Not them results, no.
So let's move on to the juicy stuff. Let's get juicy now. So West Ham, let's let Luke talk about this result first. We've got Andy in there now, so this has been good. Luke, I've got to be honest, you can see my prediction in the brackets. I went for a 2-2 draw. It was 3-3 and 3 goals in the last 8 minutes. What was your thoughts on this match, Luke?
Too many. Every emotion going. It's summed up being a West Ham fan, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I Mrs. maybe a roast dinner, and I was sitting down to enjoy it, thinking, I can watch the game and watch the game. And I took one bite, and the score went 1-0 up, and I just went, fuck that! I'm not even going to enjoy this meal. This is put me right off. And I was just slumped for that 16 minutes. I know we can be poor, West Ham, but that was diabolical. I know that Tottenham could be absolutely devastating with Son and Kane up front. They've got an almost telepathic understanding of each other. But it was almost like they were taking the piss, and it was like, surely we're not this bad. Surely we're not this terrible. But it was honestly, it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And the thing was, after they went 3-0 up, I thought I was so despondent that I didn't even realise how well we played throughout that game, because we still kept going, we still kept pushing, we still kept trying to get goals. And I was more surprised that we kept going, to be fair. But when we scored the first goal, I didn't even celebrate. I was like, we got one back here now. That'll be it. We'll be going home 3-1. 3-2, I celebrated. And then 3-3, I just went absolutely mental. Lanzini is never going to hit a shot better than that in his career, as long as he lives. And nothing against, what, fair play to Spurs, because they played well for what they were. But I think Mourinho it was a very Mourinho sort of tactics, because he tended to bring off the midfielders that were doing all the hard work, and they were the midfield, and it allowed us to come into the game. It allowed Rice and Souček to start playing the ball more along midfield, but no one. I don't care who you are, to hit a ball that perfectly for 3-3. I almost felt sorry for Spurs, because I was like,
I didn't.
If he'd have scored a tap in, it'd have been like. No, I didn't. To be fair, I was working overtime that night, so I went into working as a Spurs fan in the changing rooms, and I couldn't hold my grin back. And I just went, "Evening," and he went, "Well done. You drew your cup final." I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Here we go. So, yeah, I was like, here you go, let me off tonight. But it was that 8 minutes. I've never known West Ham to play like that. I've never known West Ham ever to have that credential to keep pushing and keep getting the goals. And I've been on a high for a week. So, yeah, that's how silly we are. We celebrate a draw for a week.
And the thing about it is, Luke, is look at the teams that you've played. You've got your hard, tough games out the way, and you're now going into what we would deem a winnable schedule. Look at Jamie sitting over there.
That's a tough game. I'm glad you said that.
When the fixtures come out, I thought the Premier League were taking a piss, to be fair. I thought we've finally got a first opening day fixture that isn't in the top 6. It's Newcastle at home. That's the fixture. You get your 3 points, and then we'll try and concede the least amount of goals as we can in the next 7 games. That'll do us. And then we lost 2-0 to Newcastle, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be relegation again. David Moyes, perfection. But I don't know one West Ham fan that would tell you we'd get 4 points out of these 7 games. It is incredible. Honestly, I cannot believe how well we've played, how well we scored. If you look at the stats.
Is he boring you? Is the West Ham fan boring you already?
We'll go straight to Andy, the Tottenham fan. Andy, what happened, mate? We haven't even said hello to you yet, and we've asked you about the bloody game. Hello, Andy. How are you? How's your week?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's all good. Like Jose said, basically, it's football, isn't it? We've all. If any of us that have played in games like that, either for us or against us, and it was just one of them things. I think certain things contributed to it. I think the return of Bale clouded certain people's judgment on the day. And anybody that has known Bale or has been watching what's been going on with Bale in Madrid for the last 2 years knows that it's going to take, I would say, at least 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a couple of months for Bale to get up to full fitness. If you don't play that little football over a year or two and suddenly walk into a Premier League game and be on it, he was always going to be off it. And the whole build-up to the game was all Bale's going to start. And I was talking to all these Spurs fans. They're like, oh, yeah, Bale's got to start. But I said, why has Bale got to start? He's nowhere near the pace ready for the pace of a Premier League match yet. And they were all saying, oh, why is he on the bench? I was like, well, because that's all he can do at the moment. And so, but then there was seen this thing where they had to get him on the pitch. Quite frankly, we didn't need Bale to come on last Sunday. And Mourinho did it to please the crowd, but he should have just kept powder dry for late last night or something, because we didn't need to bring Bale on with 20 minutes to go. It wasn't necessary. And the other thing is he didn't need to take Ndombele off either, because that really changed the dynamic when he did that as well.
Yeah.
And I think I think he just succumbs to, what people wanted him to do. And I just think at that point he thought, well, we're 3-0 up. We're not going to lose it from here, so we can do whatever we like. And I think he underestimated what West Ham were doing, because actually West Ham played pretty well from everything apart from the first 15 minutes of the game. West Ham played pretty well and probably the better team over the most of the game.
Yeah.
we didn't create that much more than the goals we scored, and obviously the Kane hit the post and Bale's chance. But those 5 were pretty much, most of the chances we had in the game. We had lots of half chances, but
West Ham had more shots. They had 14 shots to Tottenham's 11.
Yeah, I mean, most of West Ham didn't do anything really before they scored in terms of good opportunities, Tone. I mean, you can have 14 shots from 35 yards that go 10 yards over the bar. That don't mean an awful lot. I mean, West Ham didn't look like they were going to score until they scored. And then Tottenham collapsed. And it was, it was just one of them things.
Ooh, what was that? Whose is that, guys?
Biden also again talked about a mask mandate.
Is that somebody's?
Someone.
Is someone on the TV on?
Yeah, that's all right. It's gone. Tony, what was your thoughts quickly on that one? What was your thoughts on that game?
I mean, I thought it was a very entertaining game. I thought, as Andy said, I think West Ham looked the more assertive of the two teams. Spurs just got off to a flyer, and I've noticed that about Spurs of late. They've been getting off to really quick starts, getting an early goal, getting a momentum. There's obviously a great connection between Bale and between Kane and Son, and they're getting off to at the races real quick. But then I don't know why, but second halves they seem to slow down a bit. Have you noticed that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean I think, but if you look at the history of Mourinho, a lot of his teams do this. Like he'll get 1-2. The old Chelsea side, 10, 15 years ago, they used to get 1-2-0 and they'd win 1-2-0. It was like he wanted to get in front and then his defensive tactical masterclass would take over. The problem is at Tottenham, he doesn't have the same level of defensive capability as he had at Chelsea or in some of the other top sides that he had, Inter Milan or Real Madrid or whatever. And Tottenham aren't really great at protecting Leeds. We never have been. So Mourinho's worked a lot of his magic, but he's still got to put his imprint on the defence. That isn't there yet.
Is that true? Sorry, I was just about to ask Kaz. Is that true, Kaz? Being a Man United fan, would you agree with that in terms of Mourinho?
All right, so do you remember when Mourinho had his number 2 was Rui Faria?
Yeah.
Ever since Rui Faria left, Mourinho cannot defend. Period. You can make every excuse you want, he cannot defend. He can't. As soon as he lost Rui Faria, that was the end. At Manchester United, he was terrible. Everywhere. Chelsea, terrible. At Spurs, he's going to be terrible. People underestimate how much your backroom staff, your coaching staff, how much they actually do.
Yeah,
as a manager, what you're meant to manage. As a coach, you decide how the team play on the pitch. And he's lost his best number 2, I think. And I think that's just the end of it.
Would you agree?
It's amazing how you can defend.
I don't agree it's the end, no.
Yeah.
I agree that he's had to change his style since he parted ways with Rui Faria, and you've got certain people that are great defensive coaches. I mean, you look at what Leicester did 4 or 5 years ago with the relegation saving and then winning the Premier League. Their coach at that time was Craig Shakespeare. He's now gone to Villa, and look at the start. I mean, they've had a terrible night tonight, but look at the start Villa have had with Craig Shakespeare in there as well now. So it shows you get a good defensive coach that knows what they're doing, and it changes. I mean, Villa's defence last year was awful, but post lockdown they were better, and now they look much stronger. Apart from tonight,
would you agree with that, Bertram? Sorry, guys, I've got to move around quickly so everybody can get their say.
Well, I mean, I think it all depends on the players you have. Liverpool became a good defensive team when they got Van Dijk and yet Alisson. It's sometimes about the players, not just about the manager. Yeah. Mourinho is building a team to win the Premier League. I'm sure people realize this. He has Sissoko and Højbjerg who are going to play 2 defensive midfielders who are very, very good, going to get the job done. They're going to protect the back 4. He has an awesome forward line, probably the best in the Premier League, next to Mane, Firmino, and Salah, and they're only going to get better. Vinicius, who they just bought, is not a reserve forward. He's not. He's a starter. So you look at, all the players, Lamela, Sissoko, all those players they have, he's building a squad to win the league, not to win some trophy as everyone think he is. He's got his wing backs or his full backs are very good going forward. Yes, he got to fix his center half, but people are missing the big picture, which is, well, the old Marino, the new Marino. Marino's trying to build a team to compete and win, not to come some second or third or make top four. That's not his focus. And Levy has decided to spend some money to get him the players to compete. So don't be surprised come mid-season if Spurs is leading the league, because I think Liverpool will be challenged without Van Dijk. Man U doesn't have a good defense. City is going through a transition. They don't have the squad they used to have. We are confused in a lot of ways as Arsenal. But as I said before, this will be the best Premier League season ever.
Yeah.
Because the top 9 teams can beat each other anytime.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Jamie?
Oh, if you're including us in the top 19, then yeah, I'm more than pleased with that. But yeah, I agree with that. Just going onto the point about Craig Shakespeare, when he was at Leicester, like you say, cracking coach, absolutely fantastic coach, but when he became manager, wasn't the same, didn't do the same job. Like you said, coach and managers are two different jobs. Yeah, he's a cracking coach. Yeah, two different things. And he was brilliant when he was a coach, but as soon as he got that manager's job, it changed and he wasn't as good. So yeah, but yeah, Craig Shakespeare has changed Villa around under Dean Smith. He hates me to say this, it galls me to say it, but yeah, Villa, apart from tonight, which I was quite happy about, but Villa have changed over the last, because they were relegation favourites before the restart, weren't they?
Yeah,
they looked like they were going to go down.
Yeah, it was Arsenal that stopped. Arsenal stopped Villa from going down by allowing them to win. Oh God!
Well, we were the last team to beat Aston Villa with a crowd in the ground, 4-0.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Tony, anything to add to this one?
Yeah, I was listening to the game, man. The game, and it was unbelievable. But Tottenham are 3-0 up. I thought that's it. It's all over. It's done. And then when I listened a bit more, West Ham were creeping, coming back. And then I saw 3-1, 3-2, 3-0. Look, it happens sometimes, you know.
Not like that. It's never been done before, Tony. Not a team has never come back from 3-0 down with 8 minutes to go and tied the game.
Maybe the goals came along. But I think you could, 3-0 up. You can't blame Mourinho for putting on Bale and for changing some players, because I think most managers would have done that. They would have changed some players. It's just that West Ham got head of steam, and Tottenham just didn't know what hit them, and they just crumbled at the end of it.
But Bale had a sitter. Bale had a sitter, which he missed. Yeah. Bale had a sitter.
He done everything right, didn't he? And then he tripped over his lip, didn't he, when he was going into the pen area?
Yeah, it's one of them. And like Mourinho in the interview, you can see he didn't really kick off. He just said, it's just one of them. What could he say? He's just, it's one-off. It won't happen again.
So, Tony, I'll stay with you on this one as the Liverpool fan. I went for 3-2 to Everton, and when I said that, you guys laughed at me. It could have gone either way.
Yeah. Look, about the game, I'm not going to complain too much about the VAR and Henderson's goal, because I think every team's going to get a rough one from VAR because they don't know what they're doing. So there's going to be some rough decisions. But the challenge by Pickford on Van Dijk, I just don't get. I just don't get it. They were looking at Van Dijk's offside, so that's all they looked at. He's offside, but then they don't pick up what Pickford did to him. It's scandalous, and I don't know one fan or one manager or anyone who looked at that and thought Pickford should have been off. It's a disgraceful challenge, and then Richarlison on Thiago as well, because I think Thiago's got it now. But about the game, it could have gone either way. Coming into the game, this is the first time in years that I felt Everton might get something from us. But we got some fight after the 7-2 against Aston Villa. We came back, but again, the Pickford thing, which they couldn't review again. I just don't get it.
Yeah, Tony, what was your thoughts on this one? Yeah. Tony's muted at the moment.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, again, very entertaining game. Lots of talking points. The boy Calvert-Lewin, again, he's doing the business up top for Everton. You can't help but be impressed by his goal return. He leapt like a salmon for that header, and I was just like, wow. He towered above the
future England striker for you. Can he nail that down?
Yeah, I mean, so look, listen, I always think you go with the player who's in form. England are lucky to have a number of strikers at the moment: Vardy, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, to choose from. So the one who's scoring is the one who carries the flag, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think Vardy's retired from international football, hasn't he? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you really believe that, Tony?
I do, yeah. I always think you go with the hot hand. I mean, you look at any Brazil team, yeah, you're gonna have a situation where you've got 5-6 strikers who are all on 20 goals a season. I always go with.
Can I just say something though? If you've got a striker, fair enough. Calvert-Lewin's on fire, but you've got a striker that scored. If you forget the injuries in the last 2 seasons, and when Kane's still got 17 and 18 in the last 2 seasons, despite missing half the season through injury in both of them. In all the previous 4 seasons, he was over 20 goals, up to 30 goals. Right, so for 6 seasons running, Kane has there or thereabouts got 20 goals plus in the Premier League for 6 straight seasons, even though he's had injuries. Calvert-Lewin has hit a hot streak for 6 games.
Yeah.
So you cannot say you're going to put in Calvert-Lewin over Harry Kane.
Oh, no, isn't Kane the captain?
He's been hot for 6 games.
Yeah.
Kane's scoring now as well.
Last international, so he came off the bench. But yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, Andy, and yeah, I kind of, in some ways, I do agree with you. But I also believe that when you're picking your squad, you look at who's in form, you look at who's going to do the most damage to the opposition, and you go with the hot hand. Now, there are some players who, under bright lights, so to speak, they fail. I mean, years ago, we had the battle between Shearer, Michael Owen, and Ian Wright. And I always thought Wright was the best of the 3 strikers.
Yeah, me too.
England, it was clearly Shearer and Owen.
Yeah. Totally agree.
It's one of them situations where I think you still have to give the guy the opportunity. As I always thought, give Ian Wright the opportunity, he'll score your goals.
But can't
I don't think it's even a discussion. Kane is England's striker until he gets injured or he retires if he keeps scoring goals. That's how Southgate operates. Southgate likes certain players. Doesn't matter, like Mount, who I don't rate, frankly, and a lot of people rate him. There's certain players who Southgate like. Kane is the captain. He's going to be a striker. Calvert-Lewin could score 2 goals a game for the rest of the season. It won't matter.
Yeah. Jamie, what's your thoughts on this?
Can't they play together? Why can't you play Calvert-Lewin and Kane together?
That's not his formation, though, right? He's not going to play 2 strikers.
Yeah, but Jamie, what's your thoughts on this?
He's not going to play 2 number 9s.
It's proved a point. Southgate will...
Hold on, guys, hold on. Let me hear from Jamie.
Southgate will not play 2 up top. Vardy has scored 108 goals in 5 Premiership seasons. And one of the reasons why Vardy decided to not retire, just have a break from international football, Vardy was scoring goals for fun, and he decided to play him on the wing instead of playing him up top. Vardy is not a winger. He played up top. What was the problem with having Kane and Vardy up top? How much is that a deadly duo up top, having Kane and Vardy? I do not understand. That's one of the reasons why Vardy decided to have a step down from international football, because he wasn't getting the game time.
Exactly. Didn't he send a warning to Danny Ings? Didn't he say to Danny Ings, look, mate, be prepared to sit on the bench, no matter how many goals you score?
Because he just plays one man up front, and it's, as I know the Spurs fan, but it's Harry Kane, it's Harry Kane, it's Harry Kane. You play 2 up top. You play your best side. You play your form players. You don't just play Harry Kane. In the World Cup, Harry Kane scored 6 goals, and I think one of them was from open play, and one of them was off his backside.
International football is a different thing, though. I'm not sure that Vardy.
You've still got to win, though, haven't you?
International football.
What about but the goals he scored?
Are we not over England yet? Are we still believing?
I don't watch international football. I think it's boring. So you guys are ahead of me.
Gareth Southgate is trash. Let's just be honest. He's trash. His tactics are trash. His team selection is trash. England's not going to get anywhere under Gareth Southgate. I don't know why anyone even bothers with it. I don't even watch a game. Not one game. It's trash.
I watch England in the World Cup and the Euros, but these qualifying games and everything is just a bore fest for me. I try to watch them, I just can't. They're so boring, man.
I don't think Gareth Southgate is trash. I think Gareth actually made the pivot and start bringing when Sam Allardyce was the manager, he brought a lot of the old players. Gareth is the one who went to the younger players like the Sterlings of the world and changed the dynamics. Yeah. So every player now feel they have a chance to get into the England squad. Gareth changed that whole mindset. So I think I don't agree with the selection sometimes. I don't think you can leave Grealish out your team, frankly, because you lack creativity. I'm not sure why it doesn't. Gareth likes who he likes. I'm not sure people realize that. And he doesn't fancy certain players. He probably doesn't think against them. He doesn't like their game. Grealish doesn't work hard enough, for example. But I don't think he's a trash manager. I just don't think he's as genuine as he should be sometimes.
My thing is this: if you're not going to win anything, if you're not even going to look like it's a possibility that you can even challenge, then you are trash. And that's, for me, that's the end of it.
He made a semi-final in the World Cup. What are you talking about?
Say that again?
He made a semi-final of the World Cup, didn't he?
Did you, in your heart, did you believe?
If Harry Kane did his job, they probably would have done better. Harry Kane was poor. Even though he was the leading goal scorer in the World Cup, Harry Kane was atrocious in the World Cup.
Do you remember the rules?
He was atrocious. It's a fact.
Do you remember the rules?
Harry Kane wasn't fit for the World Cup.
But I'm saying he wasn't good either. He wasn't good.
Who did they play? Who did England play?
They got England play. We're missing the perspective. You went to the semi-final of the World Cup. Sometimes you get a good draw. Sometimes you get a good draw in your rounds. They went to the semi-final. They could have won, like everybody else. They were in the last four. Brazil didn't get there. Did Brazil get there? It doesn't matter. It came in front of them.
Of course it matters.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It's the only thing that matters.
No,
if you beat rubbish teams, then you are expected to beat rubbish teams.
Because somebody got beaten before. No, that's nonsense. That's nonsense.
The first good team he plays, he loses against. And right, well, listen to me. All right, so cool. So if you can beat rubbish teams, then you're good. That's your what you expect from a team.
We beat Colombia and Sweden.
All right. So like I said, if you beat good teams, I don't understand what this is. England they only beat and challenge teams that are on their level of crap. They can't beat Portugal. They can't beat
number one.
Mate, all right. You keep believing.
Guys, I don't think.
Keep believing. You keep believing.
I think I'm just been playing devil's advocate here. Nobody went into that World Cup thinking England was going to do anything. For the first time in my life, I'm 52 years old, and for the first time in my life, this was the lowest expectations anybody ever had of the England national team. I remember in the 70s, from the 70s upwards, people always talked about, we won it in 66, we're going to be afraid, we're going to do it, we're going to win it this time. Every single decade, they failed. And this time, no expectations. And what did they do? They got to the semi-final, and it was unbelievable because it was like no pressure. A lot of people say that the players buckle under the pressure of the country because the kids don't go to school. They're sitting in these halls watching the games, and it's all the kind of thing that the country's always been behind. But the World Cup, there was no pressure, and people were shocked. They was like, I can't believe they've got to the semi-finals. But
that's not true. There's always pressure in the World Cup. Even if you're the worst team in the World Cup, there's always pressure. It's a World Cup.
Yeah, I think that at that point there was no pressure because the media always the media plays a big part in what England does in the World Cup, and they just won on their backs. There was no big story headlines. It was strange. There was no news about wags walking around. It was like, what is going on? Nobody cared.
The best finish since 1996, and fans are still complaining. No appreciation. The media and fans are England's worst enemy. That's all I'm saying, man.
So, guys, let's move on because that's a different topic here. Luke, you haven't had your word on this. What did you think of this game, mate?
Is my connection very good? Because I feel like I'm fading in and out a little bit. But,
it's a bit choppy, but it's okay. Sometimes it's screen freezes.
I'll make it quick. Calvert-Lewin is on fire, and Everton look a completely different team than I've ever seen Everton look. Everton look better than they did under Moyes when he was managing them, which is saying a lot. Rodriguez is a point ahead when he first signed West Ham, and you can just see that if West Ham have had a striker like Calvert-Lewin in 2016, 2015, we could have been top of the league after 10 games. So fair Ancelotti, Liverpool and Alice goalkeeper. He hasn't been featuring lately, and Adrian's having to goal, which he's always a bit of a West Ham fans will know Adrian. 1 minute he's world class, next minute he's pony. So yeah, it was a fair game. Anyone could have won it, and Liverpool were unlucky to lose. Liverpool were lucky not to win it. But in the day, it's 2-2 is an even game, and
I don't agree it was an even game. I think we're watching different games. I just think we're watching different games. First of all, Liverpool dominated the first half. Gomez couldn't get a pass off. Allen was out of his depths. It wasn't a balanced game. But the game, Ancelotti didn't manage well either, because Gomez was lost throughout the game. When he brought on Sigurdsson late in the second half, that's when the game changed. He went on the left side quite a bit. It wasn't an even game. Liverpool should have won that game. Van Dijk got hurt early. I don't think it was an even game. I thought Liverpool was a much better team.
So
fair enough. I'm saying.
So guys, this is the only prediction that I got right for the week. I went Villa 1-0 over Leicester. I know, Jamie, I'm going to let you open this one up. What is going on with Leicester at the moment, Jamie? I was shocked with the West Ham result. I wasn't too shocked with this one because they had just beaten Liverpool. But why aren't Leicester scoring goals?
You tell me. The first 3 games we scored 12 and only conceded 3 goals.
Maddison was on fire.
No, Maddison wasn't. He didn't play till he came on a sub against the Man City game, and he scored a stunning goal. He only started his first game against Arsenal in the cup. We were scoring goals left, right, and centre. Gave the ball, scored. Gave the ball, scored. It was the first time we'd ever won 3 games on the trot. The first 3 games in a top flight league, stretching back to 98 years. And then all of a sudden we played West Ham, and I think our confidence was too high. I think we decided, oh yeah, we've got this. And now that was a shocking game. That was unbelievable. How to lose 3-0 to West Ham, not just because West Ham, but at home to West Ham. But I still believe it's to do with the home advantage. The fans, the home advantage is gone. It's showing the results are so stupid now and strange. But after the Villa game, after the West Ham game, we lost Daniel Amati. We lost Ricardo Pereira's already been out. Wolf Ndidi's out. Soyuncu's out. Vardy's out. Anybody that lose five of their main first team players, Maddison isn't fit. DP Dennis Pratt, he's not properly fit. So there's 7 players that we're struggling, either unfit or just not available or unfit. You struggle to make it, and then it's shown the last 3 games. And then last night we played Ukrainians pub team, and we made it. We beat them 3-0 quite convincingly with six players out. So I think we'll start coming back on form. But Brendan Rodgers made a strange substitution against Villa. He brought off Mendy, who'd been playing outstandingly well. We had to move our our defensive centre midfielder Ndidi back to the centre half for the first 3 games, and he put Mendy there. Mendy's been brilliant. He was leaving the club in the summer, and they signed him on a new 2-year contract, and he's been absolutely outstanding. And he takes him off and brings Chowdhury on, and it just changes. It just changes the way it is. Mendy would have had that space that Barkley scored, because I said 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd love to have Ross Barkley in my team at Leicester. I think Barkley's a fantastic player. He's somehow, I don't know why he's at Villa. He should be at a better side than Villa. But we'll come back. We'll come back bigger. But it's the typical Leicester way. We do well, and then we lose a couple, and then we do well again, lose a couple. We'll be back. Yeah. We'll be back. Harvey Barnes is another one. Harvey Barnes is absolutely outstanding. Just needs to get goals to his game, unfortunately. If he had his shooting boots on, it'd be fine.
Andy,
he could have had.
Finish off, Jamie.
Oh yeah, Andy said he scored a good goal. He did, but Iheanacho was brilliant last night. It's become, us Leicester fans, most Leicester fans seem to need a scapegoat all the time. First of all, it was Ben Chilwell a couple of years ago. Who else was it? We've had scapegoats. Danny Drinkwater was one. Mahrez was a bit of a scapegoat occasionally. Now it seems to be Iheanacho. He seems to be the scapegoat. But he had a great game last night. But people were still saying he had a terrible game. But he assisted 2 goals. He scored. He plays a different game to Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy, Iheanacho does what Jamie Vardy doesn't do. And
I think the thing for me is
fine.
It's the first consecutive time that they've not scored in consecutive home games. I mean, it's just like it's so weird.
Well, it's 3, isn't it? If you include the cup game, it's 3.
That's true. I mean, the thing about Villa, though, Tony, before I let you go, the thing about Villa that people haven't clocked on yet is Villa and Everton are in the top 6 of net spenders in the last 5 years. Only Everton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, and City have spent more than Aston Villa, 240 million. I mean, people ain't even talking about that. Go on, Tony.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Iheanacho. I somehow, we've watched this guy play for a number of years now, in and out of the Premier. And I just feel that he's not quite top level. He's never going to be up with your top. Jamie Vardy is a legitimate 20-goal a season striker. Iheanacho is going to come in with like 10 goals a season, which you consider like Lacazette. Arsenal have the same situation with Lacazette. Some weeks he's going to be on fire. Other weeks he's a complete waste of space on the pitch. And I see that with Iheanacho. He flatters to deceive. One game he looked like absolute, the next thing since sliced bread. I remember in playing some games against us for Chelsea, and he looked, really good. But I really don't think he's going to cut it.
Yeah, well, would you agree with that, Bertram? I mean, Bertram, he's not at the level of Tammy Abrahams and Origi from Liverpool. He's just not. He's not at that level. Where would you put him?
I don't think he's worth a conversation.
Yeah.
I think the thing about strikers, Vardy, for example, make you change your defense, and he can touch the ball 15 times in a game, and he make you change your entire defense. You have to play deeper because he's tough. He pressures you, and he gets behind the defense, which is what Arsenal should be doing with Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Versus playing him on the wing, and Aubameyang can't play football except for score goals. Can't pass, not a great control, good movement, but he's not a great footballer. Even though I hear people on Arsenal TV getting all excited about him, he's a great goal scorer. So play him up front so he can score goals. But Iheanacho, he flattered to deceive, as Tony says at Man City. He's an okay footballer.
Yeah, Tony, where would you see this one? Sorry, go on, Jamie. Hold on, let me let Jamie get his bit in first.
When Vardy and Nacho play together, they're a cracking partnership. But Brendan Rodgers doesn't like playing with 2 up top. He likes just playing one man, and he likes him let him go. When we've had to play Vardy and Nacho up top, it's brilliant. But they just don't seem. Brendan Rodgers doesn't like playing 2 up top for some reason. He doesn't like going old school and playing.
Nobody plays 2 up top anymore, though. It's just.
But why not though? Why not
formation?
Yeah, no, but 4-4-2, big man, small man up top. What's wrong with that?
No, but every formation has a deficiency, and managers can afford what a 2 striker are going to give you versus what you're going to be. You're going to expose. That's why they don't play 2 up top.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Leicester won the league playing 4-4-2. Tim Sherwood tried it when he was at Spurs, and it was the worst thing they've ever done. So it's apples and oranges, isn't it? Tony, what was your thoughts on this one?
I thought it would be a close game. Villa in good form. Obviously up until tonight, but they're brimming with confidence, and with the injuries that Leicester had, it's not a surprise. And Leicester, I think you're right. Leicester, they win 3 games, then they'll lose 2, then they win 3, then they'll lose 2. But I thought it was going to be a close game. It's not a real surprise, to be fair.
Yeah. Cass, what about you?
With what? Sorry, I lost the question.
Leicester, Aston Villa.
I mean, it could have been 1-0 either way for me. It was one of those games that I couldn't put. If you asked me before the game, I wouldn't have an answer for you. Who's going to win? Because obviously we saw what Aston Villa done to Liverpool, and we know what Leicester is already. We know that, so it wasn't really a shock to me. It's just Leicester. I don't know. I think Leicester performed better against teams that would just sit back or against teams that attack too much. But I think it's a fair result. I think 1-0 was a fair result for me.
Yeah, I hear that. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was 2 minutes from having the correct score because I said I thought this would be a goalless draw, this game. And then obviously Villa got the injury time winner. But yeah, I mean, I felt it would be quite a cagey game and not very entertaining, and I was right. But they're two decent teams. I still don't think either one of them will be there at the end of the season, but they're two decent teams. You're never going to have an easy game against either one of them. And, you know, Leicester are struggling at the moment. When they're without Vardy, Leicester always seem to struggle. So they're struggling a bit. And missing Soyuncu is another thing. And indeed, you know, with Ndidi suffering with injury, they are problematic. And it's like most teams. If you take out key players out of most teams, you know, Liverpool now without Alisson and Van Dijk, they're gonna struggle. I think Liverpool will cope, but they won't be as dominant as they were last season. And I think this is going to happen. City suffered, but I think City's acquisition of Diaz is going to really help them. I think their City will be much tighter at the back now, particularly if they can get Laporte back as well. I believe that City will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, this season.
Would you agree with that, Luke? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm surprised with Leicester the way they've gone. I thought, you know, they were never going to be. I think structural wise, they're never going to be. You know, after they won the league, I thought they might, you know, crumble really, really badly and never won season one. But they've done really well for themselves. It's just a bit surprising that they've had these results. But it's like, you know, it's like I said, his injuries. There's no way you can have that many injuries in one team and expect to be at the same level as you were. And it's you know, it's disappointing on Leicester's part because they're great players. You know, Soyuncu came on after Maguire, and it was like Leicester fans didn't even need Maguire anymore. They were like, you know, just for the 80 million, we'll go and spend it elsewhere. So I've got a lot of respect for Leicester. I think their owners are brilliant. They've won the league, and I was really shocked that West Ham beat them. To be fair, and it was, you know, I'm still shocked now that we've won one of the games we have. But Villa seem to be on fire apart from tonight. You know, Barkley, great goal. I mean, if you're going to lose the goal, if you're going to lose a game, lose it like that because you ain't in there wherever you are. But it's 1-0. It's just one of them things. It's one of them games. It's a dark match as well, isn't it? So Barkley must be happy, but not too happy tonight. Obviously, it's weird doing this now because less.
Yeah, it's strange.
Just lost 3-0, so it's a bit weird talking about the games now when last week they. Yeah,
it's strange. Guys, I look. My opinion is a lot of teams have had to deal with injuries over the years. Believe me, I'm an Arsenal fan. I know what injuries are like. They're unforgiving, but there's a silver lining because you get to see players come together and you get to see people stay up. I mean, I think Mendy, Barnes are playing really well with Maddison at the moment, and I'm concerned about them. They've never had a good result at the Emirates. I'll give them that. So Sunday's going to be interesting to see whether Vardy's even going to show up. But I expect he's going to be there. And but we've always done well at the Emirates, so I'm looking forward to having a good result. And let's face it, Arsenal have played terrible over the last few games. Let's move to Man United, Newcastle. Cass, you're going to leave this one. You're going to lead this for us. When you went 1-0 down, Cass, what the hell happened here? You're muted, mate. You're muted.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was just a deflection. Simple as that. I don't know if you remember, I was saying, when you're looking at Manchester United, I know Spurs got a little rush of blood, and I know that we look rubbish against Crystal Palace and all these teams, but I said it earlier. I said, what you're watching when you're seeing these first 4 or 5 games of Manchester United, you are watching pre-season. Like, if you actually understand the football, a team doesn't finish the league like they did last season and start the league like we did this season, and you say, okay, that's how they are now, how they started. The Premier League themselves said, we will postpone your first game to give you at least 1 week of training. We had 1 week of training. That was it. So what we was watching was a hangover. And obviously Spurs will celebrate that to their grave because there's no trophies to celebrate. But this game here, you're seeing a fitter Manchester United. That's it. When you watch PSG, you saw a fitter Manchester United. They're just picking up where they left off. It's simple as that. We absolutely ran the game, smashed them off the park. The football looked a lot better. People looked a lot fitter. And it was a masterclass by Oli by dropping that lazy git Pogba and putting in Fred McTominay.
Yeah.
It was a masterclass. He took out, I don't know if I can say it, but he took out his kahunas and he said, I'm the manager. Sit on the bench. You're a superstar. I like your haircut. But sit on the bench and let the real players do what they got to do. And that's what we saw.
Cool Case just said Manchester United have been awarded 17 penalties in the Premier League since the start of last season.
All right, listen. You see Martial. Martial is a problem. Even for France. Forget Man United. Even for France, penalty again. They can't handle him. He's too tricky in that box. Now, what people get lost with is, you scored penalties. You have to get fouled in the box and you have to stop a scoring opportunity to get a penalty. Let's wake up, people.
You don't have to stop a scoring opportunity.
Well, it has happened. That's what's happened.
Yeah, I think we're missing that with Pepe. When Pepe was in France, he was running into the box and getting fouled, giving up penalties all the time, and he ain't doing it with Arsenal. And it's really frustrating because he's got all of that ability to do the same thing, and he's just not doing it at the moment.
He's not being given the ball in the same area.
That's what you want from your forwards anyway. I'm happy with the more penalties we get, the better.
Yeah, I hear you. Who are we going to go with? Who wants to go next on this one? Andy, you had something to say?
Yeah, I think we need to remember that this game was 1-1 with about 5 minutes to go, and then Man United got 2-1 up, and the Newcastle folded and it ended up 4-1. So the scoreline's a bit of a distortion, really, on the game.
No, it's
hang on, wait. Man United were a better team. Man United deserved to win. No one's arguing with that. What I'm saying is, it was 1-1 with 5 minutes to go, and then it ended up 4-1. So, let's not get carried away. Just like you can't get carried away that Spurs crushed you 6-1 at Old Trafford, we won't get carried away with you winning 4-1 at Newcastle. So
Andy, I'm going to have to agree with Cass on this one. In Man United, this is crazy. Man United had 28 shots to Newcastle 7. They had 4 on target. They were just that is an R60 peppering machine gun. They were just absolutely peppering them. 28 shots and 14 on target.
How many shots did Spurs have against Newcastle before they got the penalty with the handball looking the other way?
Insane, mate. That was insane. What did you think of this one, Jamie?
I was quite surprised when it was 1-1 with 5. I didn't really watch it, to be honest. Well, I didn't watch it at all, to be honest, let you know. When I saw the score was 4-1, I thought, Man United must have absolutely trounced them. But like Andy's just said about it was 1-1 with 5 minutes to go. If you don't take your chances, you don't win games. And no matter how many goals, how many chances you score, how many chances you have, you've got to score with them. And if 5-1, Newcastle could have got up the field and sneaked it quite easily. It only takes a few seconds to go up the field and score. But yeah, the score does. It was never a 4-1 game, even though if you don't take your chances, you don't win the games. And it was Newcastle. That's the thing. So the scoreline flatters it, really, I think, to be honest.
Tony,
is Ollie back at the wheel?
Mad. Tony, T.I., what was your thoughts on this one? You worried about Man United? Are they a team that strikes fear into Liverpool?
Man United, they're filtering and filter out. You get a few good games and then you get a few worrying. I'm still don't think Ollie knows his best 11 yet. I still think he's searching for the best 11. He gets let down by a few players sometimes, and defensively. Man U, they'll be there and thereabouts, but I think they've got some issues. Ollie still needs to find his best 11 and play them. And I tell you, if he gets the guys playing to the maximum, I don't know if you get anything out of Pogba, I'm not too sure. But if you can get them guys playing to the maximum, they should be there and thereabouts. Because the front three, the front guys are fine. Defensively, you might have a few issues at the back, but man, they've got the players. And picking his a solid 11 players.
Yeah, but what about you, Bertram? I mean, I've said before that Manchester United's front three scored more than Liverpool's front three last season. So I was really concerned about Man United this season until I saw their defense.
Well, Man U is my least favorite team in the Premier League. Not even Tottenham, who's supposed to be our rival. It's Man U because they have won a ton. Look, I think as Tony said, their defense is going to be challenged all season. They've tried to improve there. I think Maguire is a truck that can't turn. I do think there's the midfield, he hasn't sorted out. Van Beek, Pogba, who plays? Does he use Fred? McDonomy? Who does he play in his midfield? I'm not sure he knows what his best team there. Up front, Martial is, as was mentioned before, is very tricky in the box. He's going to get penalties. He knows how to move the ball away from the defenders. They're afraid to put their foot in. When they do, he dives over. So they're going to score goals because if Greenwood comes back and plays well, get over his challenges. We have Rashford, who's a very, very good player and does score very good goals. So, I will use PSG game as an example because PSG also had a lot of injuries. I'm not sure people are realizing. I'm going to go back to the Leicester situation, which is Leicester last year would have made top 4 if they hadn't lost half their team. They lost both their fullbacks. They lost Ndidi. Vardy was out periodically. You can't lose half your team and expect to keep on winning. So this whole concept, like Leicester won't be there this year, they got all their players back. We'll see how that works out. But Man U, I don't think Man U is going to win the league because I think they got to get better central defenders. Their central Maguire is not a very good player. I'm telling you, he's good on the ball. He's good on the ball. He's not good defending.
Yeah, Tony Cox.
Not a lot to say about this. I mean, I feel United are on a positive trend at the moment. They're definitely going places. I think they'll be there or thereabouts. I think they'll be there or thereabouts for that third place, if you ask me.
Third is way high. Yeah, that's way high.
Maybe even with a shout of second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're even going to make top 4. Yeah, I don't think they'll make top 4. I think they've got the same problem as Chelsea, which I've been alluding to all season. Their biggest weaknesses is their managers. I don't rate Lampard, don't rate Solskjaer. And it's just you can't spend the amount of money that those two teams are spending on quality players and at some point it's going to turn to the manager's tactics in order to get them playing. The manager's always the first to take the brunt, not the players. And we're going to be seeing that happening with these two teams. Lampard is going to be on the cosh, and so is Solskjaer. That's my opinion. Andy, have you finished with your thoughts on that one? Shall we move on?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, excellent. Guys.
Look, can I just butt in? I've got to go now, lads. So
no problem.
It's been a pleasure.
Great on, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
I'll be on, brilliant. And hope to see you next week, mate.
I'll be on again. Well, not next week. I can't do next week, but I'll be on in a few weeks' time, yeah?
No problem, mate. All the best. Thanks for joining us,
Cheers,
mate.
all. See you later, all.
Cheers, mate.
What a great guy. What a great guy. Guys, Man City, Arsenal, and I'm not going to say too much because I've probably saying it all week and you guys with me on the live stream. We've got a guy from America here. Ali, how are you doing, mate? Says, watching from the USA. I'm an Arsenal fan. What do you guys think of how Ozil's been treated? Was it fair? Has Ozil been betrayed? Yes, I think it's unfair, and I think he has been betrayed by the club. It's all about image, all about money, all about all that stuff. You can't have the guy who's created not only the most chances at Arsenal, but in the Premier League over the last 5 years, and then just sit him on the bench, and it's just a completely ridiculous decision. I made a video in the midweek. I made a video in the midweek saying, he's not really normally turned up for big games. I get that. But at the same time, we're struggling to beat other teams. We struggle to get over West Ham. We're going to struggle against other teams. And even if that means he turns up against these previous teams, he's still an option. So not having as an option is ridiculous. But I digress. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we as Arsenal fans have to stop making this narrative about he's the top assister in the last 5-6 years. You can't judge players on what they've done historically. You can only judge a player by the most recent season.
Okay, yeah? Tony.
I know. Let me finish.
Yeah, but you have to get it right, Tony. You got to get it right. We weren't talking about assists, we're talking about chances created. Okay. And even when he weren't barely playing, he was still creating more chances than anyone else.
That's my point. So that's my point, Apollo, is basically when you look at that and you look at that statistic, that alone tells you he should be at some part in a system, be able to be part of that system. And I know Bertram hates Ozil. I know how much he is lazy. He's languid, as I keep telling people. He's not lazy, he's languid. And he doesn't do, sprints, and he doesn't do hard tackles, and he never jumps for headers. But neither did Mark Overmars, neither did Robert Pires. I can't see why you can't find a way of integrating a player so that he can do something for you at some point in a game.
I agree. And Andrew,
you've got to be able to say, listen, at some dark minnow in the middle of Europe, at some point he can come on and he can just maybe get an opportunity to see if he can create where we've been lacking. That's the one bit of the pitch that we seem to be immediately in need of is a creative player.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And Andrew sums it up here by saying, no matter what fans comment about the situation with Ozil, club is not prepared to consider any alternative solutions to current. Yeah, there you go. And that's probably what Bertrand would say.
I'm getting a headache with Ozil. Like, guys, move on. He's not. He's like Iheanacho. He's not worth the conversation.
Hey, Bertram, I answered the question so you don't have to. Yeah, so you can talk about the game.
Okay, good. Move on. I'll say one thing on Jose before I move on, which is we're done. Gunnosaurus, China, no pay cut, always injured. Let's move on. About the game, look, I think we picked the wrong team, right? I don't think we picked the right team. I'm not sure how El Nene, the Stallion Tony, where a player who is being judged based on his past, not his current performances. He hasn't had a score below 7 in my book since he came back from Turkey. So how is he on the bench? I have no idea. Doesn't make mistakes, gets it done. On Thursday, you see he can make a forward pass, play the defense with the right pace. He does that. He should play every game. Xhaka shouldn't play every game. We now have Partey who's going to help us in the middle. In the Man City game, we played scared. Arteta went there, as he normally does against the big teams, playing 3 at the back, playing very compact defensively, versus saying, you know what, we're with the big boys, let's try to compete with them. We didn't compete. We had chances. Abba had a clear-cut chance, so did Saka. But we weren't imposing ourselves on the game to create enough chances to win the game. We went there to play conservative as we normally do, as we did before the restart, after the restart, instead of going to win the game, right? So, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so I think he tried to pull a fast one with the formation up top, and it failed miserably because Willian was obviously playing as a false 9, and it failed miserably. He just got that wrong. He must have worked on that in the week prior, which wasn't a big week. So when you consider that you've got, 3 days to prepare at max, 3 days, and you're trying a formation which you've never used, you're trying to impose a game that you've never done before against a team like Man City. I think we did the wrong thing.
Yeah, look, I think what people realize is that I use the Leicester game as a barometer when I think about City. So City was destroying Leicester in the first half. Mendy make one turn, beat 3 players, make a 2-pass to Vardy, and the game was basically over after that. Because you know what happened? They're playing very high in your own half. You get the ball behind their defense, and you can get at them. We play Abba in the middle because Abba can't make a pass to save his life. Abba is not the best controlling the ball. And you play Abba on the last defender. If you want to play behind, we have the whole space behind the keeper and your defense to get behind you. You play Saka left, and you play Pepe right. You need skills on both wings. And then Nene, Partey, or Xhaka in the middle, along with Ceballos. We didn't do that. We played, what's his name, getting roasted every game, Tierney, when he plays against a very good player. Bellerin didn't have a good game. It was very frustrating watching that game. Football is not rocket science. And the concept and the idea that I'm not going to play my quickest player in the middle of the park, to force him to play deeper so we can have more ball position, because we don't keep the ball well. I didn't understand the concept the strategy he was employing. Didn't make sense to me. And the result justified my perspective.
Yeah, I'm bang awful. Tony, what was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. I think against Liverpool and Man City, he's gone out there not to lose the game, and not looking at winning the game. And I think he needs to change that. He needs to come. All right, he knows it's too dangerous, but up to win the game. Don't have William being centre forward. Come on, who would do that? I think he's overthought the whole thing. Put your best team out there and compete. That's what you need to do. And against Liverpool and against Man City, they'll be probably two most disappointing games for Arsenal. We're not even trying to. What are we doing?
I know. I made this point.
We're not trying to get anywhere.
Yeah, I made this point last week when I was saying that this is a stark difference from the team that beat them 2 months ago in the league and in the FA Cup. And we didn't attack them. We didn't attack both teams. And how can you have a guy like Gabriel and sit him against Liverpool, and then the most consistent midfielder you had in El Nene, you left him out against City? I mean, it's just baffling.
No, he has a Pep disease. That Pep has the Champions League. Pep disease. You overthink it, and you make decisions that doesn't fly.
Andy, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some thoughts. I actually heard. I don't know if you heard during the week an interview with Wenger about Ozil, and he was basically saying that Ozil was. He said he's a nice guy. He's a hard worker. He's not a troublemaker. He was saying he's efficient, but he said he's not going to fit into a system of a high press, because he's not that kind of player that works if you're going to play a high pressing game. And that's the game that Arteta wants to play. And so he is not going to fit into Arteta's system. And I think Arsenal fans, probably a bit like Spurs fans who all love Dele Alli, have had to accept that he doesn't really fit into Jose Mourinho's system of play. I think Arsenal fans have got to accept that Ozil doesn't fit into Arteta's system of play. And this is what you're getting now. You're seeing more managers now saying that their system of play is more important than fitting in fan favourites or players with excellent reputations, etc., etc. Ozil is a fantastic player. He is a very, very good player, but he's a luxury, and he needs to play in a team that is set up to get the best out of him. If you're going to play a different way, in the way Arteta wants to play, Ozil's not going to fit into that system. And you're seeing it more and more with a lot of teams now. But, I mean, talking about this particular game, the City-Arsenal game, like the others have alluded to it, but I think Arteta thought, I'm going to be clever here. I'm going to do something that Pep's not expecting. I'm going to throw Willian in, and I'm going to put Willian in the centre of the park.
That's what he said, yeah.
if Willian gets the ball when City are out of position, he is good enough to exploit those City players being out of position. And he thought he'd try something, and he thought he'd try and surprise the opposition. But it backfired on him because it didn't work. And so, if it had come off, Arteta would be a tactical genius. And it didn't come off, and they lost. It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah.
But I think what Arteta is missing is that Abba, and I keep focusing on Abba because he gets a lot of the accolades and he got the big contract. He cannot be the player to save his life. He can't make a good pass to save his life. So why is he playing on the wing? Abba.
Yeah.
Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Oh, Aubameyang. Okay, yeah.
He can't. So why is he playing on the wing? I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, he's not now. Aubameyang's playing on the central line. Mr. Bungle said, "Give that man," he's talking about Andy, "a cigar. He makes a lot of sense." Remember, Mr. Bungle, Andy is our Spurs supporter guest. So now that you know that, you might not only not give him a cigar, but you probably hold the gun to his head. So,
and one thing about what Andy said about Ozil. So here's my Ozil. People say I hate Ozil. I don't hate Ozil. I hope he has a very successful life. Take care of his kid in London. Moved to Miami to play for Beckham's team. What I would say about Ozil is this: he may have played 80 big games in Arsenal career. He hasn't played well in more than half of those games. That's how I judge big players. So he gets all these accolades about how great he is, and he's great on the ball. He's a great technician. But look at his production.
He's won the points in the other half.
Say it again?
But he's won the points in the other half.
Well, yes and no.
Can't have both.
But that's your dilemma with Ozil.
Yeah, but you know what? Emery didn't think he fit into his scheme. That is Arteta. All these managers can't be right. There's only one theme here. The theme is Ozil. Wenger spoiled him. When we have to go to Stoke, Burnley, anywhere up north, his knee hurts. You don't have knee problem one week and knees better next week. That doesn't occur with knees. You need a hurt this week and get better next week. That's not knees. I have knee problems. I know. As a player ball, I know.
I think you're overthinking the whole thing, Bertram. I think literally all these excuses of injuries are not injuries.
I know.
Yeah, they're not injuries.
That's what I'm saying.
This guy doesn't want to perform on a wet Tuesday night.
I know, but I'm being facetious, Tony. That's what I mean, which is I'm going to Stoke this week and I'm hurt. Next week I'm playing against Man U at home. It doesn't work that way.
Guys, the only thing I'm saying is when Wenger had him, he built a team around him, and we had Sanchez, Giroud, Walcott, and Ramsey. Everything was ticking nicely. Ozil was singing. 19 assists in the league, nearly beating Henry's record, 12 goals season. He was in double digits for goals. And then Emery came in. Well, not before Emery came in. Wenger changed the system, and it didn't just affect Ozil, it affected a lot of other players as well who was productive. We know what happened, why Oxlade-Chamberlain left, because he wanted to play in the middle, so he was out of position. Walcott was dropped because he wasn't a win-back, and everything just exploded at that point. And we all know what happened. They dropped out.
Apollo, it's Ramsey who said that Ozil was
they dropped out of the top four, and then also what happened is the Emery situation. You then bring in guys like Xhaka and Mustafi, and when you build in a team around a world-class player, you can't put pieces like that in there. And it's just it's like with Thomas Partey. We've just bought Thomas Partey now. You can't put Dega players around him. You've got to put.
Do not compare Thomas Partey with Ozil. Can we leave Ozil alone, please?
One more thing.
People to shine.
One more thing on Ozil. He's had issues with 3 managers now, so there's something up. Wenger, Arteta, and Emery. Yeah, the issue is that with 3 of them couldn't fit him in. So there's something not right.
He played under Wenger, so you can't count Wenger.
If you swap him out for
Tony, it was Ramsey who came out and said he's teacher's pet. He got away with a lot. He was always in the manager's office for something.
You can talk about Ramsey, but Ramsey couldn't tackle for Jack.
Yeah, Ramsey was all. When we went up to Anfield and got beaten 4-0, Ramsey was ball watching.
There's a lot of fanboys who talk about Ramsey. Ramsey was the slowest.
Tony, you're missing what I'm saying. I am not talking about Ramsey. I'm talking about a player.
Talk about Ozil.
Yeah, we're talking about Ramsey. Basically said Ozil was Wenger's pet. He's always in the manager's office for something because when they had to go to Stoke, Ozil's toes hurt, his back hurt, his knee hurt, his stomach hurt.
All right, guys, we're
done with that.
Right, we're done with it. So let's go on to Chelsea and Southampton. Now, Chelsea-Southampton, a few things spotted out here. First of all, we know that Havertz had his first league goal. Werner scored both of his first league goals. Looked like a really good player. On a few of the on one of the goals, he was almost by himself. The ball came over the top, and he did all the work himself. No help whatsoever, no support. And this guy, Yeah, he reminds me of who does he reminds me of a Higuain type of player. Really short, beefy, stout, strong, holds people off the ball, uses his body well. Yeah, a little bit of. I think they've got a Diego Costa on their hands with Timo Werner. So I think it's a good buy. However, I was very impressed with what I saw by Southampton, especially Theo Walcott. Always thought that once he was integrated into a team where he can shine. Remember, the thing about good players is you got to play them. No point putting them on the bench. They can't do nothing from there. At the moment, I think it's great that he's gone there to support Danny Ings, and that's exactly what he did. He made the third goal, which is in the 92nd minute, I believe. And I think it's just a great fit for him. But overall, a really good and entertaining game. Andy, what was your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I actually watched this. I got this off the old foreign satellite, and Chelsea were very strong to start with. Werner sort of came out of the blocks firing, but then Southampton got a foothold in the game, and all of a sudden, I mean, quite frankly, for the remainder of the game, Southampton were the better team. Chelsea struggled a bit. They had a period in the second half where they got back ahead, but Southampton looked very strong once they got to grips with how Chelsea were playing, which I think possibly surprised them at the beginning. But that once they got to grips with it, Southampton were arguably the better team in the match. And actually, in one way, you could argue that, Chelsea were fortunate to get the draw, except it was Southampton that got the late equaliser. But I mean, I've got a lot of time for Danny Ings. I think Danny Ings is a top striker. Some of the ways he takes the ball and the way he finishes.
Sorry, there's so much banter going on with my two brothers are sitting at the top of the panel right there. It's a weekly thing on Arsenal where it's a running joke. We've got jokes with Danny Ings, we've got jokes with El Nene, we've got big jokes with certain players around the league. So forgive them at the top.
No, let's explain it. I call out certain players who I think is good, and Tony destroys them. And then later on, as the season progresses, he started realizing that he made a mistake in his assessment. So then he comes around.
Oh, my God. Tony, this was Southampton have only lost one of their last 8 away games in the Premier League.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a Kepa situation, isn't it? It's a Kepa situation. Listen, Chelsea, they're gonna be. I mean, the guy's just a walking disaster for them at the moment.
He's not going to play anymore.
You don't think? Yeah, he can't. They got to play Mendy.
They registered Czech. They registered Peter Czech.
Peter Czech, unbelievable. So I'm gonna hit you with the same thing I've been hitting you with all along, and that is talking about Solskjaer, Man United, and Frank Lampard, Chelsea, how they are costing their teams. It says here, Chelsea have conceded an average of 1.5 goals per game in the Premier League under Lampard, 63 goals in 43 games. That is awful. That is what Arsenal are trying to run away from at the moment. What's your thoughts on this result here?
Well, he's placed a lot of reliance on Zuma, Christensen. I mean, he's the center of his team. And look, defense is not about your center half. Defense is about your team. Here's a lot of flair players, right? A lot of flair players. Kante is not being healthy for a long time. So your middle of your team has to protect the back too, and that's not happening as well as it should. I do think Chelsea's going to be okay. Look, his flair players, and there's a lot of them, they're very good. Pulisic, Ziyech. I mean, you can name them along the line. Havertz, I think, has to come into his own. I'm not totally convinced of Havertz yet. But I'm telling you, their flair players are very, very good. And they're going to settle down. Maybe Silva can help them organize in the back. His legs may be a little bit gone, but he's a very experienced player. I don't think they're going to be as challenged as people think they are. I'm not sure they're not playing this German international that they set into the heat yard. Not sure why. What's his name?
Look at Andrew and Kulke are killing me.
But I do think, look, the goalkeeping situation hasn't helped. Mendy seemed like a decent goalkeeper. And look, I do think the goalkeeper has played his last game for Chelsea. Lampard may say things in public that supports his players, But behind the scenes, he's saying, I cannot play this player because it's costing me games. But look, Southampton is a better team than people give them credit for. They have a good forward line. Ward-Prowse and what's his name, Romeo in the middle are good defensive players. They have a decent team. And the manager likes to play high. He's sometimes naive in terms of how he plays his team. So that's why he got destroyed in certain games. But they're building a team there, and Theo will help them. He will be able to play with more freedom there because he's always under pressure wherever he plays because his place is his place is up for grabs. Now he can play freely because he knows he's going to start every game. So look, Chelsea's going to be there because they have too much offensive firepower not to do well.
Ti, Cool K is just saying, what does 220 million buy you these days? A home draw with Southampton and an away draw with West Bromwich Albion.
Obviously, he's brought all these new players in. It's going to take a bit of time to blend. As I said, I don't think he knows his best 11. That's might be due to a few injuries. But again, what Bertrand was saying, with Chelsea, they always had a strong midfield in terms of filling and defending, and they seem to be really weak, really poor through the middle, right? And the teams are just getting to their back pretty quickly. And if you've got a goalkeeper like Kepa who's off form, it's going to make everyone dizzy at the back. What he needs to do, he needs to get someone to hold in the midfield. He needs to get Kante back on form. It's the Brazilian guy who they have as well. Jorginho. Someone like him, they've got to get someone in the middle to hold and to support the back four, because the back two are leaky. The goal, Wendy, that should strengthen them up. But I think the problem is through the middle, they're porous and they need to get stronger in the midfield. Going forward, I think they'll score goals. They just will.
If you look at the two games that Mendy and Silva have played together, they've only conceded one goal in those two games.
Yeah,
it's all the other games they're conceding heavily, but in the two games that Mendy and Silva have played together, they've only conceded one goal.
Yeah.
So I think you'll find that going forward, Mendy will be the goalkeeper and Silva will be the controlling figure at the back, and they'll play him with one of the younger, quicker guys, and hopefully use Silva to organise the team a bit better. And then they need to sit. I mean, I don't understand why anyone would play Kante in any other role than the holding midfield role. This business of playing Kante at right midfield is just like nonsensical. He's won the Premier League twice, playing in a deep lying central midfield role, breaking up the play. Why would you play him anywhere else? The only reason is because they're trying to play Jorginho, and it doesn't really work having both of them in that deep lying role.
Great observation, Andy. Great observation, because Jorginho can only play in the center, and he's defensively too weak to play there. Great passer, good vision, but you can't play them together.
Yeah.
So guys, last one from us tonight is, as you can see, I got it wrong. I went for a 2-1 Leeds win, and it was quite a striking game actually. When you consider the fact that Leeds themselves I think they've only lost once in their last 12 home games. So this was a really good result for Wolves. What was your thoughts on this, Andy? Let's start with you.
Well, I didn't see this game. I didn't have a chance to see the game. I saw the goal, but Wolves never shock me. Wolves are capable of beating anyone on their day. So Leeds, I think Leeds are very strong. They've shown again tonight how strong they are. They're going to trouble a lot of teams this season, Leeds. But Wolves, on their day, can beat anybody. And so this wasn't a particular shock to me. Again, I thought it would be a low-scoring game, but yeah, I didn't go for a Wolves victory. I thought this one was a 0-0. But at the end of the day, Wolves got the win, and I think probably deserved it. So we'll see how things pan out. But as I say, I didn't see the game, so I can't comment a great deal on it.
Yeah, what about you, Tony? TC?
So I would have picked Wolves very slimly. I mean, Leeds are playing fantastic football, but I think their soft centre is the striker. And lo and behold, I say he's the weak link in the team, and he goes and scores a hat-trick tonight. So, you know, it's one of them confounding things. I do think Patrick Bamford will be to the detriment of Leeds ultimately down the stretch. I think they're going to compete against every team. They play a system of play that is fantastic. This high press, very high speed football. But, you know, I think they'd be much better off if they had a more clinical striker until tonight, of course.
Well, he's got 6 goals and 1 assist in 6 games.
Yeah.
I still think, you know, I mean, I don't know what Bertrand thinks is Patrick Bamford the next Danny Ings, but me personally, I just think he's like not that great a striker. You yourself have said last season, you know, Nketiah was far more effective as a striker, even off the bench, than Bamford. But we'll see. You know, he might warm to the task. He might become the Sean Goethe of Leeds United and become a scoring machine. But I still think Wolves are a phenomenal team, and they will cause trouble for anybody. You know, I think it's very difficult to beat such a team. You know, Espirito Santo has got them clicking, and they're going to be, in most games, I would probably pick them to get some kind of a result.
Yeah, and you look, the big week 1, the 2 teams I told all of you here to watch was Leeds and West Ham. And I don't think I've got one wrong at the moment now. Both teams are doing exactly what I thought that they would do. And I'm not surprised with either, if I'm honest. My surprise team is obviously Villa. I know about their goalkeeper. He didn't have a good game tonight. But he's been rock solid for the last 6 months. So I was shocked to see the game that he had tonight. But, you know, every goalie has a howler once in a blue moon. They always say you judge a goalkeeper on how much he can limit mistakes. And this is the first time I've seen him make one. So let's see what Villa does. For me, as I said last week, I'm concerned about going out and playing these teams. You know, Liverpool have played both of these teams here. Actually, no, I'm talking about Villa and Leeds.
Yeah.
You know, the Leeds came out of them in the first game of the season and jump scared them, and then obviously Villa beat them. So I'm really concerned that there's a lot of teams that I don't really want to play in this league right now. But that's just what Bertrand says. Bertrand has said this is going to be the most competitive Premier League season we have seen in many years, even more when Leicester won the title. So, right, whose go is it? Andy,
Okay.
You've gone. Tony, you've gone. Bertrand.
Well, I think it's uncomfortable to play Leeds. Very uncomfortable. They don't give you. So most teams you play may sit back or they may press you, right? So you can rest on defense or rest on offense. It all depends on how the team is playing you. Leeds makes it uncomfortable for me this entire game. When they played City dominated them as first half of the first half, and then after that, the game got uncomfortable for City. Because they're always running. They have players who are not name-branded players, don't have great reputation, and yet it's like watching a video game. The way they move the ball amongst themselves, make the right pass, make a decision, see the play before they get the ball so they can make the right play. I was watching them somewhat tonight when they were playing Villa, and it was amazing. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm pointing down to the comment on there. I want you to have a look.
No, it was amazing to see how they were playing and how they moved the ball. Bamford, no, I don't rate Bamford, Tony. I think he's decent, but I think Bielsa like him, and Bielsa knows much more than I do about football. So there must be something there to keep him as a main striker. But Bamford works his socks off, right? He works his socks off. And he's a decent holder player. So, and Jimenez, yes, he should have been sent off in that game. Not fortunate, he should have been sent off because he kicked out when he fell. He actually kicked out. He just didn't hit the player. And now if you punch or you kick, that's an automatic red card. So he got lucky. And I know people are always blaming VAR because I live in the States and VAR is innate to how we do sports. It's not VAR, it's the person running the system.
Correct.
And it's very, very difficult. You will not go back from VAR, by the way. You won't go back. People in the States just complain about how long it took to do this and do that, making wrong decision. That's why human beings are going to VAR, because human beings make bad decisions a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's why we go to automatic driving cars and to VAR, because we're human beings. We're fallible.
The big problem that they've created with VAR is that what they've done is they're changing the rules to suit VAR. That they're amending some of the rules to try and make VAR more clear cut and be able to make clearer VAR judgments. And I think they got it completely wrong doing that. They should leave the laws of the game as they are, or as they were, and either VAR can interpret it and make clear cut decisions, or it can't.
No, but Andy, I don't agree. Here's why it can't work, Andy, because here's the thing. Before we had VAR, it was hard to discern what a real offside means. So people complain that you can't offside with your knee, with your butt, for example. Well, you know what? What's the criteria for offside? The offensive player being in front of the defensive player with any part of his body. Now, you may take the arms out nowadays. That's an offside. What VAR does is have clean up that ambiguity between from an exactness standpoint. No, it's whatever. That's what the attempt is. No, but Andy, that's what.
I'll tell you why it doesn't. Because they cannot be precise with the moment that the ball leaves the player's foot.
Right.
So if you cannot be precise with that part of the judgment, you cannot be giving people offside by a millimetre or an armpit hair because you haven't got a categoric point at which the ball left the person's foot. So
okay, Andy.
You can't be making millimetre judgments based on an indefinite point earlier on in the play. It doesn't work.
So here's my view on this. When you have an issue, tell us what your proposed solution would be that makes it better. So how were we making decision before when we had no VAR?
My view on offside has been something that happened during my playing days, which was it should be clear daylight. Simple as that. It needs to be clear daylight.
It's definitely not clear daylight.
What does that mean, though? Don't you still have to pass the ball? Wait, don't you still have to pass the ball to figure out when clear daylight occurs?
Personally, there's two things that have happened in the past. Once was that the attacker always got the benefit of the doubt. In other words, if it was close, like we're talking about millimetres, if you've got to start drawing lines on the screen to try and decide whether or not someone's offside, that's close enough to give the attacker the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion.
Because normally they say when you're level, then you're onside. So that's where you've given the benefit.
Guys, in athletics, we have a finish line in athletics, and they use cameras and photos in athletics to decide who win the race, even when they finish with the same time. We're trying to get
You've only got to be a fraction out with the moment the ball that you freeze the frame. If that ball is that when the player has motion to kick the ball? Is it when it's left his foot? At what point are you freezing the frame? Because you only need a fraction of a second with a defender going one way and the attacker going the other way, and a fraction of a second can make 2-3 yards difference.
So what will happen,
Andy? Precise enough.
Andy, what will happen eventually? We're going to have AI figure this out.
Yeah,
we'll have AI figure this out eventually.
My view is it's got to be clear cut, and if it's not clear cut, you just leave it alone.
So, guys, I want to go around before I go to Tony. I want to go around, and I just want a simple yes or no answer from each of one of you. Is this offside? Yeah. Let's start with TC. Tony, is this offside? I just want a yes or a no answer from each and every one of you. Just for schematics, you can see here the player number 10.
Yes.
Yeah. But the heel, the back heel here. Offside. Yeah, the back heel.
I totally agree with Andy. I believe it has to be clear daylight. And in that particular picture you brought up, Apollo, that's not clear daylight.
What is clear? How do you define clear daylight, Tony?
You've got to see a gap between where the player is and the defender.
But that's not the rule. We go by the rules.
So if you look here, Bertrand,
that used to be the rule. They've changed the rule. That used to be the rule.
And guys, we had so many games. We had so many games with the old rule where we all agree people were offside, got the benefit of the doubt, and there's an injured party involved all the time. So if my team won, I'm happy. Your team lost, you're unhappy.
Okay, let's stay on topic, guys. So Tony, you're saying this is not offside. Okay, Bertrand.
He's leading across the line from my bare eyes, and that's hard to discern. But he's leading across the line. Forget about the feet. Where's his body positioned? Isn't he leaning across the line?
Right. So what you're saying is this arm here he's leaning this way, so his arm is offside.
Look where the defender is, and look where he is. He's leaning across it. He has an advantage. It's all about you getting an unfair advantage. He's getting an advantage.
So you're saying that this is offside?
Yes, based on what I see.
Ti.
For me, no. But if we're going by the rules, yes, it is.
Ooh, okay. Andy, what about you?
That's the rule. We can all say that's the rule.
Yeah.
Well, it's because of the angle of the frame. It's very difficult to see. Obviously, from this angle, it would look that the attacker is slightly leaning ahead of the defender he's next to. However, if you look at the right back is behind the central defender. So in one point, you'd maybe say that was onside. But I have a feeling I remember this. Was this a Spurs game?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Spurs-Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You can see Willian here with his afro.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this was given offside.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that reason, that's the reason why I brought the picture up, because it was given offside because of the arm.
Yeah.
I see why.
Yeah.
But to me, an arm is not a part of your body with which you can score a goal. So that shouldn't be offside.
Guy, wait. You get momentum with your arm to move your arm. Look. We can decipher this. We'll never agree. But say your arm is part of your body. That's how you run.
Yeah, but
your arm gives you momentum to move.
You can't score with your arm.
Yeah, guys, we weren't here to agree. I just wanted your own interpretations of whether you thought it was offside or not. Yeah, Tony, you're the only one that hasn't really commented on the Leeds, the Leeds Wolves result.
Yeah, again, I didn't see the game. Yeah, for me, if I was going to predict, it could have gone either way for me. Wolves and Leeds are kind of similar to me. When I look at Wolves and Leeds, I think when it's all said and done at the end of the season, they won't be too far apart. I don't think. I think they'll be quite close together, those two teams. And you talk about Bamford. You know, if a guy scores 6 goals in 6 games, and you think, no, he's not that good. I don't think you look at the whole picture. Leeds are going to play to his strengths. They know Bamford. They know how he plays, so they're going to play to his strengths. And the guy's scoring the goals. Hey, look.
Yeah, good luck.
Bamford works in Bielsa's system. Yeah, Bamford works in Bielsa's system.
There you go. If Aubameyang, if Salah was playing for Bielsa, maybe they won't get those goals back. For Bamford,
how many goals will Bamford score by the end of the season?
I don't know, but all I'm saying now, he's got 6 in 6.
Yeah, I remember this time last season, Tammy Abraham probably had about 7 and 6.
But Tom, I don't know why you're beating up the guy and he's got 6 and 6. What are you beating up for? It doesn't matter. Yeah, but he's got 6 goals in the Premiership. And Leeds have just come up, and you're beating the guy. What do you want him to do?
Well, I'll say, Tony, I would agree. If I watching Bamford, I watched him a lot for Leeds last year, and he
missed a lot of chances.
He's not my kind. He's not my kind of striker. All right, so I don't think Bamford's a fantastic striker, and he wouldn't be in my team. But he works in Bielsa's system. He presses and he runs and he closes down. And you can't knock the guy. He scored in the first 3 games of the season, and he's just scored a hat-trick tonight. So at the end of the day, he's doing what many people said he wouldn't be able to do in the Premier League. Absolutely. And that's putting the ball in the back of the net, as well as doing all the other work. So, in terms of his contribution, you can't knock it. Long term, I'm inclined to agree with you, Coxie. That long term, it won't work, but we'll see.
And don't forget, Aston Villa's defensive record up until now is really good, and he scored a hat trick. So
this now means that Arsenal have the best defensive record in the league. Wow.
And one of the worst scoring records. We only scored 8 goals, haven't we?
Villa have.
Until tonight.
Until tonight.
Well, how many have Arsenal conceded?
Arsenal have conceded
6.
Villa have still only conceded 5.
Yeah, we have only scored 8, by the way. Villa scored 7 in one game, so.
Hold on a second.
Bertram's always a man.
I think Villa still have the best defence.
Put them back. Yeah. He's the worst Arsenal foot in the world. Shut up, Bertram.
I have Liverpool fans. I have to need them all the time. You gave up 7 goals in one game. It's hard to do.
I know, man.
By the way, with all your players, except for maybe Thiago probably didn't play, but Van Dijk was there.
Yeah, you're right, Andy. Yeah, you're right. It's 5 against 6 at the moment.
Yeah, we were terrible. But hey, there you go.
Yeah. So, guys, listen, that's it from us this week. There's a lot of good, tasty games, and it's already started off with one of the biggest shockers for me. I did not think that result was going to happen, and it's easy for me to predict now. That's the same one I'm going to get.
So I want to say one thing before we go, that Martinez made a mistake tonight. So all the Arsenal fans who like to just whine and moan about Martinez leaving us to go to Villa, I saw the mistake he made tonight. Same thing Leno did against City. I hope he gets the same grief that Leno gets.
Well, that's difficult.
Up the cachet of great games. When you make one mistake, that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. No, guys. It's the one thing that cost him. It's the first one that cost him. He's made a mistake. It's the first one that cost him.
Okay, so let's put this into perspective. When you lead not only all goalkeepers but every single player in the league for 2 years and making the most mistakes, then come back to me and we can have that conversation.
No, guys. I'm a Martinez fan. Don't get it twisted. I'm a Martinez fan, but we got to stop whining about Martinez because he's now a Villa player, not an Arsenal player.
That's done. That boat sailed. That boat's sailed. Yeah. I love the commotion on our forum where the guys are running in trying to justify this, justify that, and then Martinez's names come up. When I see that happening and I read all them comments, man, I just walk away, man, and put my hat on. It just, kind of wink my eye. Let them say what they want to say, man.
And Andy, I'm concerned about your team, but I hope you collapse as you normally do. That's all I have to say about
that. Hey, what's going on, Tristan? How you doing, Tristan? I hope you're doing well, and don't worry, mate. I'm still following your channel. And Mr. Bungle, thanks a lot. I appreciate that, man. So Friday night, we like to talk about Premier League results, and we like to get everybody involved. So, it's all nice and relaxed and merry. I'm the only one here drinking beer, though.
Quick one, boys.
About going to the pub and talking about football. Go on, Tony.
So, I need a quick result of everyone from Man United Chelsea tomorrow, the day
after. Where is it?
Okay, I'm going 2-2. Man United's at home at Old Trafford. They're going to get a penalty.
1-1.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a draw.
Penalty.
It'd be a draw.
Nah, I think Chelsea will win 3-2.
My biggest shock of the weekend: West Ham 2, Man United 1.
Man City, you mean?
Man City, yeah.
No way, no.
Can't see that.
Come on, you Hammers!
No.
I can't see. Aguero's back, isn't he?
Aguero's back. No, it's not happening.
No.
Aguero's back. Sterling is there. De Bruyne may be back. Who knows if De Bruyne is back or not? I don't see it.
I'm 3-1 City there.
Yeah.
3-1 City.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Man City.
United. West Ham at home. Come on, you Hammers.
Mind you, they play better when they've got no fans, don't they? West Ham.
Yeah.
We'll have Arsenal Leicester can be a draw. That'll suit us.
No. We don't want to draw with Leicester. We hope Vardy doesn't play and we can beat them. I'll even take a 1-0 win. Just want to win.
Yeah, I told the other guys, I said Arsenal's last 3 games have all been away from home, and I think it'd be nice for them to get back to the Emirates for some familiarity. There's a couple of guys who's going to be in the stadium anyway.
What do you mean? Because they're used to the silence.
Yeah, we had the big man in the middle.
Yeah. And make them feel right at home, Andy. Home sweet home.
We have the second best midfielder in the Premier League in the middle, so we should be okay.
I must admit, Thomas Partey's a quality midfield player. I think you've got a good one there.
Yeah. I loved what he did the other day. I just uploaded a video today just talking about it, and the guy's a beast, man, and I can't wait for them to just build a team around him. El Nene's a nice touch. Gabriel, my video today on YouTube was really just talking about the spine of the team and how it's taken them 5 years to get it right. After we had Mertesacker and Coquelin, now these two have come in and completely eradicated the mistake of Mustafi and Xhaka. So I'm really looking forward to this at the moment now. Okay, guys, anybody else with something to chime in before we shut it down?
Maybe one day you'll get a midfield like Højbjerg and
Andy, I do think Sissoko and Højbjerg fits what you're trying to accomplish. You give your front three, go right up and down and do what they do, and you sit those two there to protect your back four. So I don't think it's a bad strategy.
Andy, all I can say is if you can win a cup, with Ceballos and Xhaka, then you guys can win anything, man. If we can do it with Xhaka and Ceballos, you can do it with anything. Man.
It's crazy because we've been better than you for 4 years, and yet you've won 4 FA Cups and we've won FA. What can we say?
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad, man. That's just.
It's about winning, mate. You got to have that mentality, and Arsenal have it.
Yeah.
But that is what. If you look at what Mourinho's identified and what he's brought in leaders. He's brought in He's brought in players that are captains. He's brought in Højbjerg, was Southampton captain. Doherty was a leader at Wolves. You know, Joe Hart was an experienced Premier League winner with Manchester City. Bale, multiple winner of stuff. You know, Vinicius last year with
guys, the most important thing that happened is Levy decided to support his manager.
Yes, but also the one thing we are still missing, and the one thing that might stop us winning the title, because I do think it's possible, although I still think it's unlikely, and that is the fact that we need a centre half.
Yeah, and I agree. I
think if we'd have got Skriniar, then I think it would have made this. Personally, I want Upamecano. He's the one I really rate.
No,
he is a prospect.
No, you can't have Upamecano. You can't have him. No way.
What Petra? Why can't they have him?
Because they'll be too good. Don't you realize what Spurs is doing? What are you talking about?
Listen, listen. The one thing I said to these guys in the FA Cup final, I said to them that Arsenal have won 7 out of their last 8 FA Cup finals at Wembley. I mean, it is bonkers. Their record is crazy. And now, obviously, beating Chelsea, they've won
Phil Dizzy Rascal coming on.
They've won 8 of their last 9 finals. I mean, who wants to go into Wembley and play a team that's won 8 of their last finals?
Yeah.
That must have been hanging over the heads of the Chelsea players. And, you know.
I'm not sure people realize how good Spurs is. I'm telling you. Spurs are they're very good.
Well, I'm looking at the league. I'm looking at the league.
We might find out how good we really are on Monday night away at Burnley.
You're going to destroy them.
You should do that.
If we can win that game Monday night, that will be a step forward because we've lost.
It's a nothing game, Andy. You win that all day.
Yeah.
Well, but we've lost last 2 seasons. We've lost and drawn there.
Yeah, I mean, for all the antics, they're still in 8th place, man. I mean,
no, you don't understand. I mean, you look at the team. Forget about now. And Ndombele to me is a very, very good skillful player. Not the best athletically, but I'm thinking him serving in that front 3, and Højbjerg and Sissoko sitting deep. That's a very, very good. And the 2 wing backs, the kid from Real Madrid is excellent going forward.
Gregory on his different class.
I mean, the team is, apart from the 2 centre halves, that's where they challenge it. The goalkeeper is decent.
It is.
Yeah, it's a very good team.
Scored more goals than any other team this season, Spurs. So far.
And you have Bergwijn, Mora, Lamela all on the bench. Dele Alli can't even get into the squad. I mean, they have a very good squad. Too many to count. I'm telling you.
I'm already afraid of Spurs. So
yes,
I'm not. in any way underestimating them this year.
Yeah, I can't wait to play him, man. I really can't wait to play him. I think Arteta's cooking up something nice for Jose Mourinho. But
Yeah,
guys,
he's going to play Gabriel as a false nine.
I can't wait to see them play.
Probably,
I can't wait to see him play Thomas Partey and all them guys. I just cannot wait.
No, fellas. Good talking, yeah?
All right, excellent, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Peace right
Thank
back
you.
at you, everybody. Thanks for coming to the
See you
show.
later.
See you next week.
Excellent. Nice one, guys.
Cheers, mate. See you later.